Guys, Sergio here from Inspired Livings. Follow us on Twitter at inspiredlivings.com. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/inspiredlivings, or check out the website, inspiredlivings.com. So today I want to talk to you about a friend of mine who's really conflicted between taking two different job opportunities. And he was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Really didn't know what job he should take. Both jobs were amazing. Both jobs were going to give him what he wanted. And really it was a question of, well, what is it that I want to do? And he debated and he debated. He asked his family, he asked his friends, and finally we had a conversation, and I said to him, what is the conflict? Where is the struggle? And really just was afraid to make the wrong choice. Was afraid that if he picked the wrong job, that it was going to push him back further from his goals of where he saw himself. And I really thought about that for a second, and I thought, how many times do we paralyze ourselves because of fear of the unknown? Where we try to figure out life is similar to a game of chess, and we're thinking about not this move, not the next move, but the move after that. And sometimes thinking too far in advance, we can scare ourselves and keep us completely stuck. And so at the end of the day, we're talking and we're having this conversation, and it dawns on him, that epiphany, that light bulb moment happens. And he says, you know what, Sergio? I figured out what it is that I'm going to do. I figured out which job I'm going to pick. And I said, wow, that's fantastic, because you've asked, close to 50 people what you should do, and it's amazing that you had the answers inside of you the whole time. Do you mind sharing with me what it is that you're going to do? And he said, at the end of the day, my friend, I'm going to pick the leader and not the boss. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, there's a difference between leaders and bosses, and I'm going to pick the leader, not the boss, not the job. And I said, explain to me. And he said, well, he interviewed with both people and went through a series of interviews, 2 different companies, and loved the companies, loved the cultures, but at the end of the day, it was a calling and a connection that he had with someone over someone else, like a slight edge that he gave to somebody else. And he said to me, you know what, Serge, leadership is influence. And if I want to be influential in the role that I want to carry, I need to align myself with a leader who I feel can show me the way and really teach me more about how to be influential. And I said, well, why is influence so important? And he said, it's all about purpose. It's all about what is it that I can provide to the team. It's all about what is it that I can provide to myself. Because I not only want a job that can feed my family, I want a job that can feed my soul. I was like, ooh, that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep. I not only want a job that I can feed my family, I want a job that I can feed my soul. So instead of picking between the 2 different jobs, I'm going to pick the leader that I believe in. And even though that leader may leave, because you may pick a job and find out that your leader is going to be leaving in 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, 6 years, what he felt he could learn from that leader in that amount of time, regardless of how short it was going to be influential in helping him build the purpose that he wanted, building the leadership skills that he wanted. And I thought, wow, so at the end of the day, you asked all these people for their opinions, and the light bulb came off that you're going to pick the leader and not the job. And I thought, how many times do we pick a job based on the benefits, based on the salary, based on the perks, and we really don't give factor, credence, credibility to who the leader is going to be? I've had this conversation with a few of my colleagues, and I said, you could be a garbage man. No disrespect to garbage men out there, but you could be a garbage man with 4 of your best friends, and you could be lugging trash all day, and you could be having the time of your life, and people would look down at that occupation but not realize that if you're doing it with buddies that you love working with every single day, it's not going to seem like work. On the flip side, you could be a food critic, you could be a hotel critic, you could be a writer for a travel magazine whose job it is to go on traveling vacations and write articles, and you could hate it because you don't get along with your boss, you don't get along with your coworkers, and at the end of the day, you just don't really feel that purpose, that motivation there. So if you're struggling between 2 options and they're work related and it's 2 different job options, the advice I'd share with you is, what would you do if you knew you could not make the wrong choice? What would you do if you knew you could not make the wrong choice? And instead of focusing on what the job is, what if you focused on who the leader was and what your relationship could be with that person? Because when we leave a job, we typically leave a job because we feel underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated. When you feel underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated, that's when you leave. 9 times out of 10, people do not leave companies. They leave other people. So if you're a leader or a boss and you have a high turnover rate, you probably have to look at who you are and whether or not you're scaring people away from the business. Because people don't work for companies at the end of the day. People work for people. So it's about leadership. It's about influence. It's about driving that purpose. And if you can find that alignment between how do I feed my family and how do I feed my soul at the same time, and how do I work for a leader that's going to push me and inspire me and motivate me and give me the tools to become more influential, that's where the decision lies. So you have 2 jobs and you knew that you could not make the wrong decision. Which would you pick? Focus on the leader, not necessarily so much on the job. And at the end of the day, remember, the answers lie within, and the choice is yours. Don't go outside looking for other people's opinions or what other people are going to say, because if you make the wrong choice in your mind's eye, if you feel you make the wrong choice, then you're going to hold some bitterness towards someone else and not realize that I was the one at the end of the day that made the decision. So, focus on not necessarily the job, but who your leader's going to be. And if you ever find yourself in that moment of, well, I have 2 options, which is going to be the better option? Maybe you need to take a step back and figure out, okay, what is that going to entail outside of these immediate options and benefits that I have? So, my friend ended up taking the job based on who the leader was, and he's been happy ever since. He's been happy ever since and said it was the best choice that he's ever made. So, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll chat with you guys later.